You're listening to Rewilding Humanity, the podcast for those who've walked through the fire and came back with medicine. I'm Krysta, artist, plant alchemist, and a woman initiated by illness, grief, and spirit. Here, we rise from collapse, reclaim our wild, and remember who the hell we are. Let's get into it.
Can I use this story to help the industry in some ways so that people don't walk into the same situation that I've been in? It's the only way any of this makes sense to me. And so that's my intention with this.
Yeah.
And this is not something that we're trying to scare people with, but there's a conversation here because both of us walked through it. I think you went to a ceremony with the same person 4 months before this, or maybe 3 months before this.
Yeah.
And yeah, like it all circles back to your message coming through the Instagram, and I'm lying in the hospital bed and I felt the same way. It was like, holy shit, I'm not alone. Somebody else is going through this. And to be honest with you, what you were experiencing was significantly different than what I meant was.
Yeah.
And my heart was with you. I didn't even know, like, I really didn't even know who you were at that stage, but it was remarkable. Because so fast forward, actually, do you want to fast forward or do you want to, is there any more, like, we can unpack a bit more if you'd like.
Yeah. That's what we're going to move into next. What I want to do, I'm going to share some of my, because I want people to see the timeline too, like where we were around the same time. So I'm just going to share my screen again.
Seeing this, by the way.
No, nobody's seen me.
Is it you in the hospital?
Yeah, some of it is for sure. Okay, so hold on, let me just pull this up bigger. Okay, so as you were getting out of the hospital, I had gone through that crazy lockdown in my, whatever the fuck was happening. I had gone to a somatic therapist. She had manipulated my body in a bunch of ways that like got me out of it. And then this involuntary jerking started happening. So this is what that looked like. And this happened all day, every day for months on end. Just FYI.
Holy shit.
Yeah. It ended up being, eventually both of my arms started doing it, but it was absolutely fucked. And then in and out of the hospital, I don't know how many times. And this is what you're faced with our medical system. I remember seeing the stressed out nurses, overweight, drinking pop, grumpy, dealing with this kind of mess. Our healthcare system in Canada is just such an absolute wreck. Like, it's no wonder that we were trying to avoid this. Just some of the bizarre shit that I had to do. So like when I was seeing this somatic therapist, like she had me do all of these bizarre things to try to ground and keep my system intact. One of them was tying socks around my feet. I don't know if that ever fucking helped. Oh, and then bizarre things too. So this is a scar from an old surgery that I had years ago to have my gallbladder removed. And like suddenly it just started weeping. So I'm doing all of this trauma work, this somatic therapy, while I'm in this incredibly heightened state. And I was told that this is the only thing that's going to help you. But I think because I was wound up and there was like so much going on, stuff was happening to my body that like I still can't explain. This is just in the depths of the bathroom. So I think I shared that I would have these baths if I could get down to the bathroom, and I would float in the bathtub. My body would just like convulse. It was just absolutely insane. So this is just to show that this shit is real. This is me in the psych ward. This is me with my feet in the little bit of dirt that was on the roof of the fucking psych ward. That is my psych ward chic hair. This shit really happened. And yeah, it was fucking hard. And we don't want this to happen to anybody else, is really why we're sharing all of this.
Yeah. Holy shit, man. Yeah, I've never seen those. I can totally relate to the hot The only thing that would give me any reprieve from the pain would be to go sit in the bathtub and have the shower on as hot as I could possibly have it. And I had to sit, and it was just like whatever the heat was doing to my tummy, somewhat.
Mm.
So I would go until I ran out of water. I would literally struggle to get out of the bath and then make my way back to the bed and have heat on it all day long. So I can totally relate to that.
And seeing your body change so significantly. So this is, it's not funny, but you shared this story. I came to visit you and your partner here recently for some work stuff, and you guys were talking about the pancake butt.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
So
The
the
ham
same thing happened to
the
me.
ham sandwich, yes.
I
Yeah.
talk about this on one of the previous episodes, but I'm like, it's so bizarre when your body changes so quickly. And like, I have a pretty big ass, and like, my ass was just absolutely gone. And you're like, oh, yeah, like I had the pancake ass. And I was like, holy fucking shit. But it's like so terrifying to look in the mirror and see somebody that you just don't recognize physically. It's awful.
Yeah, the pancake ass. It's at least it coined it the ham sandwich. And yeah, fun to me. It was not fun, but it was nice just to have a little comedic relief.
Yeah.
You were so unbelievably supportive
Yeah.
of this journey. She still made me feel handsome and wanted. And
Yeah.
I'll share that the stoma bag after I got out of the hospital was extremely difficult for me to navigate.
Totally.
To have a partner that didn't judge and loved you to the point where it didn't matter, stoma bag or not. She helped me get through this journey in a way that I will forever be so incredibly thankful. I don't think I would have survived without her, to be honest, without her
Mhm.
support and her love and just being there. But it was a really difficult time for her. We talked about the addiction. She was with me for about 3 years of that before I went into rehab. So there's been much more time without alcohol in our relationship, but it was a rather difficult time for her then. But she had said that this was the hardest thing that we'd ever been through as a
Mhm.
couple. And it was at a point where I couldn't even put a fork in the dishwasher. I couldn't bend over. I couldn't help with any cooking, any cleaning, any business stuff, anything. And I'm just so beyond grateful for that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Having a support system is just so pivotal. I had my parents during that time and a few friends that did what they could with messaging and like Zoom calls, and even had a girlfriend on the other side of the world who just booked every Tuesday. Sometimes I couldn't show up, but just to even have that was so amazing. And now, like with my current partner, we met, I was still pretty in it. And I've changed a lot, like physically since that. Other things have come up. I've gained a lot of weight, and same thing. Like he makes me feel really beautiful. And it just, I don't know, that level of support is medicine in itself. Yeah.
Yeah, man, we can unpack this. Like we could sit here for hours and unpack it. But I think what I would love to do is just ask you, like, what would you do differently knowing everything that you know now? What advisory would you give to your community, our community, the mindful community? What can be learned from this that can be applied to help the next person? And not just scare them out of it, but to give them some tools that would be
Mhm.
helpful. Have you thought about this piece?
Yeah, yeah, because both of us have had to go through such an insane journey to even figure out what the fuck happened. And we'll still touch on that a bit, but there's a lot of things. And I've been in touch with the facilitators of the journey that I did that was like the catalyst. It was a different medicine and it was low dose. So, like, none of it really made any sense as to why it triggered what it did. But we talked about it, and they were like, we should have looked into your system a little bit further in terms of like your current physical health, right? Because I had been doing some stuff with an alternative healer that was pulling on my system for a good year. And I had also gone through a lot of really big things in terms of losing my business and that sort of thing. And oftentimes we go into these journeys with a lot of trauma, with a lot of pain. I've done iboga in the past, and that's used a lot for people with heroin addiction. And they're not going in there in great physical shape. But I think having the right care and facilitation is huge too, and an understanding of the energetic components of what can happen in these ceremonies. That's huge, right? If you're being invited to something that's put on by somebody who is maybe like new to this space, when somebody claims to be like a shaman, for example, and they're not born into this traditional lineage that like a shaman is actually born into. A shaman actually technically needs to die and come back to life in order to serve medicine. That's a true shaman. They usually have sight of what is going on. If there's any energetic entities or whatever, they can actually see that shit, move you through it. It's a lifetime process that they've gone through in order to support people. These are things that are absolutely necessary. And also just understanding what type of dosing is going to happen. The journeyman, for example, like really beautiful facilitators, and they don't dose over 3.5 grams. I know of people who
Rob,
think of
what's
it
up,
like that.
Gary?
Yeah, we love you guys. We know of people who've been dosed 11 grams, 16 grams. You've been dosed in a ceremony once before, not this one, but like that is just, it's absolutely unnecessary. And I think we just need to shift our perspective on plant medicine. And there's this element of less is more. And because, and you've mentioned this earlier in the podcast, and I'm guilty of this too, when you've gone through a lot of struggle and you're dealing with chronic health conditions, we've been addicted. We have this addiction now in our culture and our generation to get on like this healing cycle, and we're just trying all the things, right? And every time you open up fucking Instagram, there's like a new trend to try. And now this is the best thing. Oh no, but now it's not. And it's just, it's all too much. And there are such beautiful supports there, but like we don't have to blow our minds in order to get that healing, because in a lot of cases, like it's gentleness that we need. And traditionally, people would do a plant medicine journey one time in their life as an initiation to something. And I know folks that are doing it every fucking weekend, and they're hosting journeys that they should not be hosting, and people are getting hurt. And that's not okay. That needs to stop.
Yeah. If I came to you and said, hey, I'm interested in doing a macrodosing journey, and maybe you can reverse the question to me after, which, by the way, I have not spent an enormous amount of time thinking through this, but I do have some thoughts. What would you say? Let's say this was your sister and she was going to go and do a mushroom ceremony, group ceremony with
Mhm.
somebody that she didn't have a relationship with. What do you say to her?
Well, even if she had a relationship with the person, knowing what I know now, you mean?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'd be like, absolutely not. First of all, when you expose yourself to a group of people, and I can't believe I used to go to all these raves and shit back in the day and be on all these psychedelics, like your energy is so open, and there's all kinds of stuff floating around that can integrate into your energetic system. And it's not good. Trust me, I've experienced it. It's not great. I would never do a journey with more than 2 or 3 other participants. Where is their training coming from? How many years have they been practicing? What does integration look like? And what is the program that builds up prior to that? Are they going to be suggesting certain diets prior to what is the preparation? Because I've been to ones where it's just I message the person, I'm like, I don't think I want to come because I'm not feeling good. And it was like, oh, that's just your ego. Because I was literally sick. Like I had a cold. And it was like, no, this is just your ego talking. You need to come. And then I show up and it's a huge fucking room of people. And some guy next to me gets dosed a shit ton of medicine who's never even done it before. And then I take on some entity from him. And even in a safe space, like the last one that I had done, that was the catalyst. It was a safe space. And I feel like the practitioners were like versed in some things. There was some stuff that was not, that could have been done differently for sure. But even in that case, there was a lot of people. And yeah, once you're open, you don't know what you're letting in, right? Like there's that element to it. And this is why I'm getting the messages of microdosing is the way forward with this type of medicine. Also, and this kind of goes against some of the thinking around like the traditional aspects of the medicine, but I would consider it to be much safer to use these medicines with somebody who's like super trained in psychedelic therapy and who's super trauma informed. Like I know my naturopath, for example, she has a master's in psychedelic therapy. And when I told her of even what the psychiatrist that I had first initially met, and I don't know how many hospital visits it had been, but she was like, oh, yeah, to fix this, you have to do ketamine. And like clearly, I was not in the fucking space to do more psychedelics than this woman. Like, she was, as a
Uh,
psychiatrist, like, this woman is not trauma informed. Like, it's crazy. There's a lot of different factors, but the key element is like, where can you sense the care? Is somebody doing this for money? Is someone doing this for ego because they want to be viewed a certain way? Is there a community around this too where there's like this element of trend? Those are things that I would really look out for.
yeah.
And I even know people, I had somebody reach out to me after I had gotten out of the hospital and I had shared my story with him. And he sends me a text and he shows me a screenshot of somebody that he knows who's down in Peru with a guy who had done a journey, because I know this shit happens down there too.
Definitely.
And because it's become an industry, it's become a tourist thing. And this guy has done a journey, he has a complete psychotic break. And now they don't know what to do with him. And he's asking me,
Yep.
like, what do you do? And I'm like, get him to the hospital and get him on some fucking benzos, calm his nervous system down. Oh my God. So there's always going to be risk, like understanding that. And I've always understood that. But
Totally.
now I am just so much more like my eyes have just been blown wide open to this whole other aspect of it. And integrity, care are at the top of the list of that.
Yeah. Really well said. I think, you know, a great friend of mine based out of Vancouver, Angela Prider, she is an incredible ally in this space. She does things very differently than the rest of the industry. And she was on a mindful meds community call last night, and some of this came up. And I was just a participant. I wasn't leading the call. It was between her and Shannon. And one of the things that she does for people before they have a big journey with her is she goes through a nervous system assessment. She will actually, because you got to understand that most people that want to participate in these types of ceremonies are in the most vulnerable state that their mental health has ever been in.
Yeah.
So it's either, for the most part, and this isn't always the case, but it's a lot of people that are struggling with depression, anxiety, that have all sorts of traumas that are locked inside their system that they want to step in and try to heal. They want to become better versions of themselves. But because of these variables, they're in the most vulnerable state imaginable. And so you got to be under somebody's care that is a complete pro. And some of the things that you just spoke of, trauma informed, having a nervous system assessment. Are you physically, mentally, and spiritually in a place to be doing this right now?
Yeah.
Or should you be going a different route that potentially avoids the medicine altogether or works your way towards it over time? My therapist, master's level therapist in Vernon, it was a minimum 20 sessions, at least in my case, it was 20 sessions with her before we even got into that work. And we had built this relationship with one another where I trusted her and I knew her. And so that's what you get with, somebody like Angela, who's literally been doing this work for the past 15 years and she's 33 years sober. She has dedicated her life to this path, and somebody that I highly respect. And I'm so grateful I got to be sitting in this conversation last night. But make sure that if you're interested in doing this work, that you're looking at these variables. How is your mental health at the moment? What is it like with other substances? Are you using other substances? Are you on SSRIs or benzodiazepines? This is going to play interference with the medicine. So what type of vetting are you going through to safely get yourself into the environment where it can be a really fruitful experience,
Mhm.
right? As opposed to walking into a dangerous situation. This idea of a nervous system assessment is something I'm very interested in learning more about.
Mm.
But the truth is, she builds the relationship with you as an individual, gets to know you and the things that you're working through on such a detailed level. I've gone to one of her journeys, and I'll be honest, I was pretty fucking apprehensive about having another mushroom journey after what I went through.
You did
Uh,
another one after?
I
Wow.
did. I did. And I've now had two. And so I am not scared of the medicine, but what I would like to do is just help people put themselves in the best hands and care in situations so that they don't
Mhm.
walk into
Yeah,
a risky situation. That's the only
totally.
reason that I want to share this story.
Yep.
I've never shared this happened to me. This is now almost 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, I believe. 2 years.
No.
Yeah. So that was, yeah, the journey would have been 2 years ago this June. So it just comes. So we're
You
almost in
sure?
2023. It's 2025.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. Yeah,
2 years
that's
ago.
all right.
And it took me another 18 months, but I went to one of Angela's ceremonies. And what I loved about hers was there was an enormous amount of paperwork. And it was like 13 pages, all sorts of questions that I had never been asked by any other person that was hosting these to really understand if you are in the right position to be doing this.
Yeah.
And so there was that piece. But if you're somebody that is interested in using and exploring this medicine in a safe and intentional way, my advice would be to first build a relationship at the microdosing level with the medicine
Totally.
and tippy toe your way towards it. Because listen, the mushrooms are always going to be there. They're not
Mhm.
going anywhere. Well, the truth is that there's no rush to this.
Mm.
And honestly, what you should be doing is tippy toeing your way there, making sure that you're vetting and understanding the process, making sure that your system, your mental health is in a place that is going to put you in a position to succeed with this. And then on the other side, but let's talk about the microdosing piece because all of this has brought us together to really look at the medicine that we're serving here. About 7 months ago, we got on a Zoom call just like this. It was just you and I. We shared this experience. At this point, we had not even actually ever unpacked this together. Yeah.
No. So let's talk about that because that's where we're at now. I reached out to you
Yep.
because a mutual friend of ours had recommended that we meet right before I got sick to potentially get into business of some sort.
Yep.
And what happened? And I kept remembering like that little touch point that we had because you had also mentioned in your message that you had never been the same after doing a plant medicine journey. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Anyway, so I was making one of my potions and I was like, oh, you know what? Like, I want this to go somewhere. It's sad that I lost my business and I feel it'd be so great to partner with somebody that could get this out into the world. And your name just popped into my head and I was like, oh, I'm just going to reach out. So I messaged you. I think you were in Thailand at the time.
So
And
this
I
was
just said,
October of
yeah,
this
in
year.
October of 2024 and shared a little bit about what I had gone through and the medicate. For some reason, I don't know why I told you about the medication that I was on. And that's when you told me about one of the incredible new products that we'll talk about later that you were working with. And I was like, holy shit, this is like what I wish I had because it works in the same way as one of my pharmaceuticals. And I don't want to be on the pharmaceuticals. So then we got to talking, and our first call was basically us just being like, talking about what just happened to each of us. And we were still in a space of holy fucking shit. What do you remember the most about that first conversation? And I still want to unpack what you feel like. What do you think happened? Like,
Yeah.
how did the mushrooms And the colon, like how? And I know that's been like a huge, like, what the fuck? And it was the same for me too. Cause I'm like, how did a small dose catalyze into all of this other shit? Like,
Yeah, for sure. And so where do we start? So you want to start with the conversation that we had?
let's start with what you think happened and then we'll do the conversation.
Sure. I think that I think that my system tried to alert me to not go and do this. I was in this place where I needed to really integrate the work that I had just done with my therapist and the DMT,
Mhm.
right? That happened 7 days before I went and did this mushroom journey. And there's that piece
Mhm.
that my system was completely overwhelmed. And I walked in and my nervous system completely crashed after the mushroom ceremony. So I know that is a piece of this. Back to like why we're doing this. The truth is, yeah,
But wait, the nervous system is not colon.
because we're going to get to this piece,
Okay.
right? So this piece, you're right. So the blockage that happened to me, it's a mystery. It really is a mystery. I don't know if we will ever know the absolute with certainty exactly how this happened because it was a medical anomaly. They had never, ever in the history of their medical experience, this whole team, ever seen this happen before. So then I think that's important for people just to have in the back of their head is how the fuck did this happen? For me, I, yeah, it's something
You went
that
down a whole rabbit hole, right? Like
I
you
went down a
and I
whole
did.
rabbit hole. I can tell you that something dark happened, something dark and very scary energetically happened. Something, yeah, is something. And that's really like where I'll leave that piece for now.
Yeah.
I don't want to just point a finger and place blame on anything or anybody, but something dark happened.
Yeah. Yeah, because we don't really know how it works. And this is why I want to have experts on to talk about the energetic aspect of what can happen. Because again, like there's nervous system stuff, there's energetic stuff, there's physical things, there's so much that needs to be considered here. And very important at this time where we are in terms of our evolution, because astrologically, energetically, all of these things, we're changing significantly as humanity. And more, there's more dysregulation, nervous system overwhelm, all of these things. So it's super, super important that we share this information now so that people can have toolkits moving forward, making sure that they're not engaging in healing modalities that could potentially cause harm, because we may need to shift how we are caring for ourselves moving forward. And maybe at one point, we did need bigger doses of medicine, but as our DNA really is changing at this time, and I know that sounds crazy, but I'll bring on more people that can explain that better than I can. But it would make more sense that subtle energy, subtle medicine, and that's so funny because I didn't
Yes.
actually mean to plug our
Yes.
product,
Yes.
but it would make sense that subtle medicine is going to be more impactful in our systems at this time and moving forward.
Yeah, I truly agree with that. And yeah, honestly, I'm going to continue to work on this because I think my role in this industry has started to shift a little bit to wanting to help develop some frameworks so that there's some more resources, some more tools, and some more vetting practices. This is a bit of the Wild West, right? You can today say that you are a medicine woman and honestly host 20 people at your house with mushrooms and not do what Angela Prada does, not have these assessments, and then on the other side, go back into the world without any integration, without any support.
And
And
any consequences for harming people.
that one's huge.
Yeah.
Somebody has to be held accountable at the end of the day. And I can tell you in my situation, there was a lot of finger pointing to other things. And so again, like I'm not at a place where I'm blaming anybody, but all I want to do is make sure that I can use my experience, the pain that I've walked through, the challenges that I've walked through, that maybe somebody listening doesn't have to go through the same thing. The odds of it happening are extraordinarily low, just so you
Mhm.
know. I know mushroom, I know practitioners in this space that I trust that I've been to, that I have seen, that have actually never walked into anything like this in their whole careers. But
Mhm.
why don't you and I,
Yeah.
the same person, practically, and have had these experiences? And there's a third person that I know that is too afraid to share her story, that it also went through something.
And I've heard a lot. And people come to me because when they hear about what I've gone through and the communities that I connected to while I was in the darkest of my hours, there was people who get into the states that I was in because they smoked a joint by themselves. It's there's a lot of people who are going through
Right.
really gnarly things, not necessarily because of a plant medicine journey, but in terms of what we're experiencing, there is more of that out there. Your case is like so severe and so absolutely fucking bizarre. But I think there's more people out there than we know. And this is also why we're speaking about this, because we'd like to hear from people
Yeah.
who this may have happened to, who might need support, or nobody's who needs support, because Jesus, like the amount, like, thank God I'm a 1-3 in human design. That is the investigator and the experimenter. Like, I did everything that I could to save my life. Like, so much research, so much like into a whole world that I never understood. A lot of people may not have the resource to do that or have the capacity to do that, to try to like figure this out. And now I feel like I have at least enough knowledge and framework where I don't know if somebody's really going through it, like just reach out because we might be able to help.
Yeah. And honestly, if you're in this industry, if you're a coach, if you're a practitioner, if you're a doctor, if you're a naturopath, and you've got some ideas as to how we can work together to help solve some of these challenges and how to keep this industry safer,
Hmm.
I would love to hear from you. I would love to be a part of that conversation. I would love to open up those doors. If you're somebody that's walked through something like this and just wants to connect, I'm happy to connect as well. But for the most part, I just want to move forward.
Yeah.
And I want to speak about some of the things that we've been working on for the past 7 months.
Yeah.
Because we're about to shift gears now and talk about some of these beautiful blends that you have created. And I'm so excited for the world to see them. And so why don't I just pass that to you? Chat about this, wrap it up, and really honestly, leave it on a beautiful, positive note.
Yeah.
That was really that's the most important thing about this podcast today
Yeah.
is yes, we've been in the valley, we're on the other side of it, and there's some positivity that we're going to speak about, and maybe just end it on that note for today.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so it's funny that I mentioned the word subtle. So we just launched a product for Mindful Meds. Preface, Keegan and I now work together. I'm about to be a partner in Mindful Meds. And divine alignment, right? Like when my business fell apart, the lesson that I took away from that experience was, first of all, that I was doing too much and too many things, but I was also in a very masculine position of having to move a company forward. And for me, like I am a deeply creative individual and I love creating and I love creating products. And so when after we had our initial meeting and we're like, holy fucking shit, what happened? We kept having conversations. And a couple months goes by and we decided that, hey, this could actually be a really great partnership because you were looking to bring some new life force into the business with some new formulations and some new products. And I am never short of product ideas. And it's interesting, but because I was also in a phase where I was like, what makes me an expert or to be in the right mind or the right position after going through something so difficult to be in the position to be creating medicine for other people. And I had actually shared this with a girlfriend of mine who was a beautiful healer. And I think I'd mentioned this in a past podcast, but she's in Taoist tradition and shamanism. A shaman is somebody who heals with what almost killed them. And I have such a deep connection with the plants. And I feel like the universe gives me these like bursts of inspiration or like these little things like with saffron. So we have this beautiful ingredient that is in our new Settle formula, which is on pre-sale right now. And Settle came to me in the form of a meme on Instagram or something, and I thought it was bullshit. And it was talking about all of the incredible healing benefits of saffron for mental health. And I'm like, okay, it's just one of those like stupid things. But because I'm a 1-3 in human design, I had to go research it. And then I realized, holy shit, there's a lot to this. And I had already been really drawn to saffron. I had just ordered a bunch. I put it in my lattes. I love the flavor of it. Like it's such a beautiful spice. And so I just dove headfirst into it and found just some of the most incredible research. It's actually very well researched around mental health, depression, elevating mood, all of these things. And I did some more digging, found a wonderful supplier. It's not just saffron, but it's a really beautiful nutraceutical that we source ethically. And so it's quite potent, and all of the clinical trials have been around this one particular ingredient. And I'm also shifting out of my pharmaceutical phase, and I'm off of most things except for one remaining medicine, and I should be off that in a few months. But my plan with my naturopath was to shift into things like saffron, psilocybin, Amanita muscaria, which we'll talk about. I don't know if this episode or another one. And I have been using the Amanita has been really great for me now. I was a little scared in the beginning because I was just like really terrified to introduce new things to my system. But I take it in the daytime now. And that has been helping with any sort of nervous system things that have come up as I'm coming off of medication. And when I had mentioned, because again, my naturopath is so rad, she's going to be coming on the podcast as well. Super trauma informed, knows all the nervous system things. And I had brought up saffron to her, and she said, "Oh my God, I love saffron." And so I had all of these like confirmations, right? And yeah, so that brings us to our first product. We have 2 more product launches that are coming up here soon that are equally exciting. But I wanted to create something for people like me, right? And that's usually how it works with people who create a new product. They create something to help themselves or something that they wish that they had while they were going through whatever they were going through. And that's really what that product is. Like I fully understand the healing benefits of psilocybin. I'm also super fucking sensitive. Like I'm a Pisces moon. My energy is like very porous. I now understand that I can take on other people's shit very easily. I don't want to be too open. And I can also feel some of the negative thing, like sometimes your tummy can feel a little weird or like you'll have mushroom yawns. I looked into that and did some more research, and the mushroom yawns are actually caused by additional serotonin going into the brain, which is great. And there's things that you can do to mitigate, which we can talk about later. But for people who've gone through a lot and whose systems are still full of like trauma or whatever, start small. And that's what this product is. Like it is a true micro, and it's blended with other botanicals that soften psilocybin even more and elevate the whole formula in a way that gives all the benefits of neurogenesis, and mood boosting and nervous system regulation, all of these things combined into just this really beautiful product that is great for anyone who is either curious about getting into microdosing or is just looking for support in a more gentle way. Because again, it doesn't have to be something that hits you up the side of the head. And because we are shifting energetically, we do need some softer medicine.
Yes. Yes. I love it. I'm so excited about the subtle. This is definitely for anybody that has extremely low tolerances, that are sensitive to energy. I would say if you're neurodivergent, this would be a blend that would be very safe for you to start on. I look at people like my mom. My mom's 68 years old. She's been quite apprehensive about psilocybin
Yeah.
because of her because of a cannabis experience. She
Mhm.
doesn't want to be intoxicated. There is nothing like Sunil in the industry. This is a groundbreaking innovation. It's a groundbreaking dose. This is not offered anywhere else. I love that you just mentioned where the nutraceutical. It took us, mainly you, but like it took us basically 6, 7 months of research and data and sourcing to bring this to the marketplace. It's something we're incredibly proud of. If you've been interested in trying a microdose, but you're a little bit afraid, this is the blend for you. And I'm beyond excited about it because the clinical data, and it always comes back to that for me. I'm obsessed with the research. And I said this to you, and when we had our first sit down, I said, whatever you create, it has to work. And this can't be a gimmick. This can't be something that just looks good and it's pretty, which you're bloody good at creating those things as well. But it has to work. That's the most important thing for me. And the clinical data, if you suffer from depression, anxiety, imbalances with your mood, the data is in on this, on the saffron. It's in. It has blown out of the water Prozac, Lexapro, some of the other big major 10 SSRIs.
Crazy.
It is
Yeah.
insane. So if you're trying to get off or you've been thinking about the potential, if you're trying to get off an SSRI, this could be super helpful. If you're considering getting on an SSRI, I think this would be something that you need to consider before.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I honestly, I'm so excited. I think so many of the other companies are going higher dose, more. And my head was there at 1.2. But after this, we wanted to create something that was for everybody. So that if you ever wanted to explore this, but maybe it just seemed a little, maybe it was a bit scary. I often use my mom as the example, right? I cannot wait for her to try the subtle. It is such a great introduction to using this beautiful medicine. And who knows, maybe over time you might tippy toe your way towards a larger dose. And all we wanted to do with this conversation was just make sure that we can prepare you for when, give you the preparation to get you to that decision and make sure that we can help you get in alignment with the right person and the right dose and all of those things. So I think there's a lot more to come for us. This is just the beginning of this conversation.
Oh, totally. I was
Yeah.
gonna say, let's talk about the future a little bit because we have more incredible products that are coming out.
Yeah.
But I think our community is gonna shift
Yeah.
too. We have some really incredible people that we're aligning with the business moving forward.
Yeah.
What else do you see for the future?
You know what? Like my my partner that was very helpful with the creations of the blends, him and I have gone different directions. And so out of respect for him and respect for the company, we're shifting all of our blends. So what from Mindful Meds today is truly a speck of who we're becoming. We have so much. We're going through an enormous level up. I can tell you that it all stays within alignment of creating the safest, the most consistent, and the highest vibrational frequency medicine that you can find
Mhm.
anywhere in the world. There's things that Mindful Meds has done and continue to do that no other company in the world is doing today that we're incredibly proud of. We can unpack that later, but it's just an exciting time. You brought up benzodiazepines, and one of the products that I've gone all in on for myself is Amanita muscaria.
Mhm.
It's again, it's been months and months, almost a year now of research. It actually started, yeah, in September of last year, 10 months ago, I got introduced to this and I was trying to work myself off of a prescribed sleep aid that I'd been stuck on for 4 years. And so I can tell you, Amanita muscaria has been a huge blessing in my life. It has been so helpful for REM cycle sleep, for sleep. I've now been off that pharmaceutical for about 10 months, but it's the Amanita that I give full credit to helping me safely get off. And so there's so much that we can unpack about that mushroom on its own. And I think over time we will. It's been so incredibly helpful. I know Amanita muscaria has helped tens upon tens of thousands of people safely come off benzodiazepines, which anybody that knows about benzodiazepine will tell you it is a living fucking hell. And I
Well, it
wasn't,
depends on the person. It depends on the person. So, and it's same with
yeah,
SSRIs. Some people can get like super dependent on stuff. Like thankfully, for myself, I don't have that issue. Like the benzos played a remarkable role in the healing when I needed them. I wish I had Amanita at the time. I would have been probably too fucking terrified to take it anyway, but it was helpful for me and I was able to get off of as soon as my body was ready. But for some people, it is an absolute fucking living nightmare. And the thing with Amanita, and this was one of the big reasons that we had connected because I wanted to get off benzos as soon as possible because I know the negative consequences of using them, like dementia and all of these things. It's not good for you. You don't want to be on shit like this long term. Any pharmaceutical, there's always going to be side effects. And this is why we want to lean on the natural because there generally aren't side effects. And with Amanita, when I researched, of course, it works on the GABA receptor similarly to a benzodiazepine. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? So that's when I was like, whoa, there's been so much alignment in our connection and coming together. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm so freaking grateful to be partnered. I'm so proud of your journey, for sharing the story, for inviting me on.
You
For
too.
trusting me to come and work together and collaborate on this. I'm excited because it's just the beginning. I really feel like there's a lot to come for Mindful Med. So hold on to your hat because things are shifting. I'm so excited about the future and so grateful to be here on this conversation with you today. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on and being so vulnerable and sharing all the things today. I know that wasn't easy, but I think it needs to be said. And so we'd love to hear from you guys, right? Reach out, tell us your stories. If you have any questions for Keegan or about the products, how can people get a hold of you?
Yeah. Get a hold of me just through mindfulmeds_CA on Instagram. If you're interested in exploring microdosing, I offer one-on-one free 15-minute consultations for microdosing guides. There's about 6 to 8 of those pockets that I open up for free every single week. We have Shannon Ferreira, who's a microdosing coach on our team that also is totally open to help you learn from your exact personal situation, make sure that we're pairing you up with the right medicine and the right path. You can check us out at mindfulmeds.io. If you're interested in exploring our offering or just want to get educated, we have the most comprehensive microdosing guide, I believe, in the entire world today. It's 62 pages long. We offer that for free. And my personal Instagram is Keegsy, KEEGSY 1111. And you can find me there as well.
Wonderful. Thank you again, my friend. And yeah, I'm so excited for the future. One thing I can say, I'm just going to leave us on this note. I have never enjoyed working with a team so much in my life. Everybody on the team is like so fucking dope, so much integrity. And to be put in a position where I just get to focus on my zone of genius. Oh my God. Like work has never been so fun either.
Oh my God. That just made me so fucking happy to receive that. Thank you so much, Krysta. Thank you to your community. I hope this is well received. I can't wait for this to be released. And we're going to keep doing these because as I got into it, I realized that this is probably 3, 4, 5 episodes, but I love that you're going to focus on bringing in some experts. This is all about helping people. Yeah. And that's really where my heart is. So thank you. Have a tremendous evening wherever you are. And we will chat soon.
I love that you're closing out my podcast.
Yeah, I you close it. Sorry, I'm closing my piece out. But yes, you did close because you're the pro.
I don't know. I think you need to come on more often. There's one that's coming up that I think we should both be on. And yeah, I think you're going to make more appearances here soon.
Yeah, I would love that.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And we'll catch you on the next episode.
All right, bye.
If this episode cracked you open, good. Share it far and wide so we can reach more people who are done pretending and ready to come home to themselves. To dive deeper into my world, explore Wildcrafted Apothecary and Sacred Art at magicmaven.com. Discover new tools for nervous system healing at mindfulmeds.io and Alchemy. Or bring your vision to life with me at the Brand Bruja. All the links and more are waiting for you in the show notes. Until next time, stay wild, stay rooted, and remember, you were made for this.